Just keep it short, sweet, in between.
Oh, there you go. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hi, welcome to our new channel, which would be our first episode into our infertility journey. This is my husband, Michael.
Hi.
For those of you who don't know me, my name is Brenda. First off, we want to say thank you for tuning in if you are. We want to do a first video of just a little bit of a Q&A, keep it short and sweet, let you know where we're leaning towards on this series, and just go from there.
So we're going to start off our first episode with a Q&A that we've gathered together, and also kind of a little background story as to where we're at in our journey and what we have coming up next. First question, how long have you two been together? 15 years. We met in high school and our love thrived, and we've been together ever since.
Not the full 15. We have been together since high school, but obviously we've had some ups and downs. So we've had a couple breaks in there. So it wasn't the full 15 years. I don't want to say, I think the longest amount of time that we were split was probably a year, right? So, I mean, for the most part, we were together for a majority of the time. But like I said earlier, we have had some differences along the way. So, we had a couple breaks. So 15 years all in all. We've been married for almost 5 years now in June.
What is PCOS and when were you diagnosed?
So PCOS is polycystic ovarian syndrome. I wanted to read something in regards to it before I continue as to when I was diagnosed. So this is actually, sorry, let me pull this up. This is from the womenshealth.gov website. So polycystic ovarian syndrome, PCOS, is a health problem that affects 1 out of 10 women in childbearing age. Women with PCOS have a hormonal imbalance and metabolism problems. Oh, God. So according to womenshealth.gov, polycystic ovarian syndrome is a health problem that affects 1 in 10 women of childbearing age. Women with PCOS have a hormonal imbalance and metabolism problems that may affect their overall health and appearance. PCOS is also common and treatable cause of infertility. So, some of the diagnosis to know if you have PCOS, just really quickly to get into how I was diagnosed, is either through a physical exam, a pelvic exam, a pelvic ultrasound, so sonogram, or blood test. So I was actually diagnosed prior to us starting through our infertility journey. I had I forgot the word. I had a PAP done. Obviously, if you're a girl, you know it's really important to get those done. A little backstory, I had my period since I was, I believe, either 9 or 10. So I've had my period for a very long time. I started really early. As I got into high school, I started noticing my periods were very irregular. So I actually was put on birth control to help regulate my periods at the time. I don't think PCOS a couple years ago was as, how can you say, aware. Yeah, there wasn't much awareness at the time. So from what I've read, just being through support groups, is that a lot of people have had PCOS for a long time and were actually put on birth control because doctors really just didn't know what else to do. So when I was on birth control, I obviously decided to get off of it once Michael and I got married, but I noticed I wasn't getting a period. I did go to the doctor, and at one point, I believe before we were married, somewhere when we were engaged, I actually had an abnormal pap, which can be a various different things. Mine was that they found cancerous cells in my what is it?
Uterus?
No, in my oh my god, I can't think. In my okay, so I had obviously cancerous cells in my cervix. After that, you have to go through some more tests just to make sure every 3 months you're getting a pap to ensure that your cells aren't growing into actual cancer. I went back and I actually got a negative test. So after that, you go back in 6 months. I got another negative test, so I was back on track. I believe they went away on their own. So I'm not very sure. I didn't go into much detail. At the time, they wanted to just monitor it to see if they grew. I know some people get biopsies done just to ensure that it's not, in fact, cancerous if they feel like it's spread enough. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not a doctor. I would seek medical help for that, or ask your doctor if you have any questions. But that's kind of how I found out. And then after that, when we did decide to start our infertility journey earlier last year, we reached out to the doctor, and I was diagnosed through blood work, and also through a pap again. So it kind of just varies on what route your doctor wants to take with you, depending on what you let them know. I'm not sure how they decide how they want to do it. For us, I believe because we wanted to start having children, they wanted to start off with blood work just to ensure everything was going well. And then that's kind of how I got my confirmation in regards to PCOS.
Next question. How long did you guys try naturally till you knew something was wrong? Personally, I always thought, coming back from our honeymoon, we would get that exciting news. But it wasn't really something that was a priority at the time. We were definitely doing a lot of traveling, and pretty much traveling every 6 months or so. So it was in the back burner. But I did definitely start to think something was wrong, either on my side or her side. Maybe about 2 years in, when we had purchased our house. That's when you want to, have the white picket fence and your family, start a family at that time. And, we were definitely trying naturally, and it just wasn't happening for us.
Yeah, I feel like that's accurate. I think I kind of knew a little bit more ahead of time than Michael did, or I kind of noticed it a little bit more. Just like he said, once we got married, we were on the same page, like, hey, we're going to go on our honeymoon and it's going to happen. Like, we were just so excited, hoping that, we would come back from our honeymoon pregnant. I feel like not everyone, but some people, like, that's what they want. And that's exactly where we were at. We just wanted to get started with our, children. But like he said, we were traveling a lot at the time. So I did kind of notice once we didn't get pregnant, like I had said earlier, I was on birth control for a long time. I did get off of it once we got engaged because I knew my body would have to regulate. At the time, I wasn't getting periods. I'm a girl. I obviously know that, my body has always suffered from irregular periods or cycles. And so naturally, when we didn't get pregnant our first year, I kind of already, like within the first couple months, I think I already kind of knew something was wrong. Obviously, I feel like we were just trying naturally for about 2 or 3 years. I think probably 2 years, when we kind of just sat and said, hey, I think something is up. We kind of were in denial, so I think we really tried hard to just keep hopes up and say, it's going to happen naturally, let's just keep trying and trying. But I think within the 2-year mark, we kind of were at a definite, like, hey, it's not happening for us, something is wrong.
So my best advice would be to definitely seek that medical help. If it's not going the way you want it to, always take that precaution and go get that checked, I guess you can say.
Yeah, you always want to, I mean, I feel like in your heart and in your gut, you're always going to know, you know, I mean, I don't know how to say it. Like, you're going to know whether or not you're able to conceive. There's people that literally get pregnant all the time and it just happens for them. And then there's people who can't conceive, but later on they do. But you always kind of have that feeling like, hey, yeah, I know, like, I can get pregnant. It's cool, like, whatever. But then when you know you can't have a kid, it's just like a gut feeling that you have. And I feel like at that point you really need to seek medical help. I know that our first year, they do tell you to try for a year before any OB will see you, because they say that sometimes it could take up to a year. After a year, I know that if you call your doctor, most of the time then they'll say, okay, so since you've already been trying, let's get you in, run some tests, see what's going on. So best advice, like Michael said, would just be to seek medical help if you've been trying for a while. You know, follow your gut. If you just feel like something's wrong, you know your body. Everybody knows how they're feeling or what their body is doing. Just trust it. It's my best advice to women. And for men, I mean, it could be men too. I don't want this segment to feel like it's like, oh, only women are the cause of infertility. I know many cases where it's actually the guy. The girl is perfectly fine and the guy's sperm count or semen count, whatever you want to call it, is actually really low. They don't produce anything. So it's very hard for them to get pregnant.
What is your diagnosis and what are your options for conceiving?
So my diagnosis was that I have a blocked fallopian tube on my right side. And then I have one open fallopian tube. It does have a little bit of scarring, so that's a little bit of an issue too. I have the cysts that grow in my ovaries, and I have a tilted uterus. So conceiving for me is a little bit harder than normal people because I only have one functioning fallopian tube. So that's pretty much where my diagnosis was on that. And then to follow up on the second question, it says, what are your options for conceiving? So our options are, we only had two. It was either we could go straight into IVF, or we can try the Clomid round with a trigger shot. And that's where we decided to start off with, just because IVF is a little bit pricier than if we took this route. And also I am very terrified of needles. So the most natural, I guess, out of the two that we could do was what I wanted to go with. I didn't want to do anything too invasive to my body. So we're going to start off with the Clomid and the trigger shot. Our OB that we're working with is giving us 2 rounds to try to conceive with Clomid. If we don't, then our next and only other option would be to go straight into IVF, which is in vitro fertilization.
Okay, this kind of sums up our video for the day. Thank you guys for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe, do what you want. Do what you want. I got it.
Get off of me. Why?
Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. If you guys want to follow with our journey, you're more than welcome to. Just definitely subscribe. If you have any comments or questions in regards to our journey, she would love to hear about them. Reach out to her.
Yeah, definitely. I love hearing stories. I love knowing what everyone else is going through. It makes me feel a little bit more connected to this type of community. So anything you guys want to know, go ahead and just leave a comment like Michael said. We'd love to hear from you guys. And that's all. Hopefully you guys have a good rest of your day. Thank you for tuning in.
Bye.
Bye.